So then I will welcome you all and thank you for your interest in our projects and how in our topic today, how to strengthen the immune system. So, and I will introduce myself to you. My name is Silvia Kuhn Pandey, and I'm the chairwoman and the founder of TCM-Sozialforum Chinese Medicine Across Borders, and which is a platform for global relief projects. Especially, we support projects with Chinese medicine.
So, the topic from today is, could Moxa help us to strengthen our immune system? During the world is talking about Corona, TB, the deadliest disease, seems to be forgotten. Here you can learn about Mox Africa and how Moxa can help to build natural immunity. First, we want to talk about some facts. Every 17 seconds, one person is dying on TB. You can imagine this is like 13 jumbo jets falling down every single day. The most TB cases exist in Sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia, but the biggest numbers exist in India, where just now all are talking about the heaviest wave of Corona. At the beginning of this Corona crisis, I was asking myself, why nobody is talking about the best protection of a living being, the immune system. That's what we call in Chinese terms, Weiqi. From my life experience and empirical knowledge in my practice and in the projects, I know patients with a weak immune system are more vulnerable to infections. The relative health and strength of the infected patient's immune system has an important impact at several stages of the disease progression. And we know not everyone who is exposed to the bacteria will develop the infection. And the same we know from Corona. And what we know is that more old people and people with several diseases are affected to get in a serious condition. The vast majority with a primarily latent infection never develop the active disease. Finally, while TB is unquestionably a lethal disease, normally only 50 to 70% of those who develop full-blown TB are expected to die if they never receive treatment. In fact, many of them do recover their health. The same we know about the coronavirus. The majority of cases, the infection is defined as mild, meaning that the symptoms may be barely noticed or may just result in a flu-like episode. And what else we know? The bacterium has a tendency to mutate, so resistant forms will develop in response to any drug therapy which are used against it. So we suspect that the coronavirus is mutating too. Now, some questions coming up. So what's stopping those primarily infections in the first place? And what's then stopping the disease progressing into its active phase? And what's allowing some of those with full active disease to survive? The answer could be, ultimately, it depends on the state of the patient's immune system or their host immunity. It is very important to know that the majority of TB-infected individuals must generate immune response that control their TB infections. Otherwise, everyone exposed to the bacteria would develop active TB disease. So we could say active TB disease is actually the exception and not the rule, and so it seems to be possible that a safe technique could provide assistance at critical moments of the disease progression and the frequency is decreased. So now we come into the immunotherapy. Historical, Moxa has been reported as helping TB patients recover from their illness in the years before TB drugs first appeared in Japan. How might such Moxa-promoted immune response work? If we can demonstrate the effect of Moxa, we will know that Moxa therapy can be put to work, and we already know it is safe and cheap and easy to applicate. Now we are talking about various ways in which Moxa may be useful. The first thing, prevent the initial infection, for example, for protective for family members, close contacts, or health workers who are known to be at immediate risk. Then prevent the progression from subclinical to active disease, so it could be used prophylactically in high incidence environments. And it helps drugs work faster and more effectively. And it helps to recover when all available treatments are failing. And it is helping as an ongoing therapy to help reduce reinfection or relapse rates and or extend life expectancy. All of this are now on Mox Africa's radar as they pass the first milestones of investigation. Establishing Moxa's effect in terms of strengthening immunity as adjunctive therapy for treating drug-suspected TB, even with HIV co-infections, and establishing clear indications of safety. A recent report from the WHO released an estimation that 1.4 million fewer people have accessed treatment for TB during 2020 compared to 2019. Now we want to talk about the differences of COVID-19 and TB. TB is one mankind's oldest infectious foes, while SARS-CoV-2 seems new. One is a mycobacterium and the other is a coronavirus. One is estimated to be lethal if untreated in 50 to 70% of cases, and the other in 0.5 to 4%. One is still regularly kills nearly 2 million each year. That means since the year 2000, at least 40 million lives have been prematurely lost to it. I don't want to talk about an exactly amount of corona deaths because we don't know exactly they died of or with corona, and it differs depending on the source. In fact, much less. One is numerically mankind's most lethal infectious foe, and the other seems not. The modest but necessary budgets set by the global community for defeating TB are still being massively missed. The battle to defeat the coronavirus, meanwhile, is currently being bankrolled to the tune of possibly trillions of dollars. This is a thought-provoking list of differences, right? But there is one important similarity. So it seems that the most probable critical factor disposing towards a favorable outcome to an infection from either disease is a healthy, functioning immune system. As we know of any infectious disease, it is very clear that weaker immune systems make for increased vulnerability to several life-threatening disease. For example, in elderly and diabetics. In other words, a stronger immune system should reduce the risk of serious disease. Given of the clinical experiences in Mox Africa, we have good reason to believe that Moxa may help bolster this host defense. but I can also confirm a strengthening effect from my own practical experience. Moxa has been used for centuries and has a track record both of safety and ease of application. So, could help a tiny cone strengthen the immune system? Yeah. So what you can do? In isolation, for example, doing anything that might potentially fortify your immune system would certainly seem to be a good idea. It is also a benefit if you have been infected to prevent reinfections. And as we know, that fortifying immunity with Moxa is not a quick fix. The effects build slowly. Taking a longer-term perspective, however, it could possibly help reduce the risk of primary infection with long-term use. Also to reduce the risk of an infection progressing into its more dangerous life-threatening phase. So, to answer the question, we just suggest that regular Moxa could fortify this adaptive immune system enough to reduce the risk of more serious disease developing, potentially reducing turn-up of symptoms requiring hospitalizations and potentially leading to death. Now we are going to the more practical part, how to use Moxa on a daily basis. We use a small cone direct Moxa, means tiny Moxa cones in the size of a half-dried rice cone, as you can see here in this picture. It should be approximately 1 milligram of finest Moxa. We smolder it until the patient feels the heat or the warmth directly on the acupuncture point. We don't want to burn the skin. We just want to give a warm feeling to the patient, because if the immune system is already weak, we don't want to go at risk. The maximum dose is 7 cones on each point. If the patient is more weak, you take just less cones. What we need for the oculartherapy or rice cone Moxa treatment. Here on the picture you can see on the right side a box with finest Moxa wool. This is the basic. Then you need maybe 2 wooden slats or boards to form a very thin, long and loose roll. You can also use just your hands and fingers, but don't press too much. We want to have a loose rice cone Moxa. We want to have a loose cone that we don't produce too much heat. And if you want, you can use a pen to mark the acupuncture point. And then we need a lighter to light the incense and an incense stick. To place safely the cone, we need, for example, a wet swab, which I place in my hand, or alternatively Moxa ointment. By the way, this fine Moxa wool, the incense and the Moxa ointment is easy to order by DocSafe, which are big donors for Moxa Africa. And now we see a small movie, how to use Ocu oder rice cone Moxa. Now I want to show you how to use and to make the direct Moxa on the points. We have chosen 2 points. One is Hegu and the other one is Susali, the both most important points which we use to strengthen the immune system. First we take some of the Moxa wool, just a little bit. We put it between the wooden slats, and we move the slats very soft from one side to the other side. We just roll the wall, the Moxa wall, from one side to the other side. We roll it very smooth until it will be a long, tiny roll. See, it is very thin now. The result on the end should be a very tiny cone, which is not too tight but very loose, because we don't want to burn the skin, we just want to make the patients a warm feeling. We take a little bit from the roll. Now we just make 3 pieces. Then we localize one point. This is Susan Lee. Susan Lee is, we know the eyes of the knee. This is below the lower border of the patella. And from there we take 4 fingers down and then 1 thumb to outside, and then here you can ask the patient, can feel some tenderness, and then here is the point. Now we have localized the point of Susan Lee, and we burn the incense. And to moisten the point, we use a wet swab. You can see I use it in my hand, and I take my small finger and press it, and then I make the point wet. And put the small cone on this point, and if the patient say me, then I take it away. Then once again, and once again. No, this is not the right one. I take another one. We don't want to burn the skin, yeah? Short before the fire is on the skin, we take it away. Okay, and the highest dose is 7 pieces of Moxa cones, but it is depend on the patient. If the patient is very weak, then we take less than 7 pieces. Okay, now we took just 3 pieces. Now we localize the point Hegu. For this, we ask the patient to press the thumb and the index finger together, and on the end of this fold there should be the point. Then please relax now, and then we press a little bit and ask the patient, they feel some tenderness, and there's the point. So alternative to the wet swab, we use the Moxa ointment, which you can buy from DocSafe. In this case, it is good to mention that DocSafe is a big donor to Mox Africa. We take a little bit of this ointment instead of water. And then we burn it again. Sometimes it's very tricky, yeah. So, but to be safe, just take it away before the skin is burning.
So now now you have seen how to use Moxa to strengthen the immune system. We suggest you to do it on a daily basis. There are some more points which you can use. For example, the Nagana immune points from Japan, which are large intestine 10, large intestine 11. This you can also use. And you can also download from the webpage of Mox Africa the manual in different languages. Also, sorry, Jenny told me I can talk in German because the attendees now are in German, right, Jenny?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, dann sprechen wir jetzt mal in Deutsch, damit, weil irgendwie jemand nicht so gut Englisch versteht und mein Englisch ist ja wahrscheinlich auch nicht so das Beste. Also auf der Seite von Mox Africa, die ihr hier seht, da könnt ihr euch die Anleitung runterladen und auch die verschiedenen Punkte. Der Einfachheit halber ist in den meisten Forschungsprojekten wird nur Susan Lee genommen, nur Magen 36, weil es schwierig ist, sonst den Leuten also einfach das zu monitoren. Ja? Deshalb, das wissen wir ja auch, dass es der wichtigste Punkt ist aus unserer eigenen Praxis. Und wenn man seinen Patienten einen guten Tipp geben will, dann reicht es ja schon, wenn sie an Susanne Moxa täglich Moxa machen. Es ist nicht wichtig, dass es stark Stimulierung ist, sondern dass es oft ist und sanft. Ja? Also am besten ist es, man macht es 2-, 3 Mal am Tag. Also wenn man dann schon erkrankt ist, dann kann man es ganz oft machen. Wenn man es vorbeugend macht, macht man es einmal am Tag. Und wir kennen es ja von, wenn jemand Chemotherapie macht, dann gehen ja die Leukozyten runter. Und da empfehlen wir auch den Patienten, Moxa an Susanne zu machen. Dann gehen die Leukozyten hoch und die Gefahr, sich mit irgendwas zu infizieren, ist einfach geringer. Ja. Ja, Mox Afrika ist ein sehr wichtiges Projekt. Bitte schaut euch mal auf deren Webseite um und gerne könnt ihr auch da eine Spende hinmachen. Wenn ihr jetzt aus Deutschland seid, Deutsch sprechen wird ja so sein, dann kann man auch zu uns, bei uns spenden auf unser Konto, weil wir ja eine gemeinnützige Organisation sind und ihr von uns auch eine Spendenbescheinigung bekommt. Ansonsten kann man eben halt auch bei Mox Afrika direkt spenden. Ja. Und naja, natürlich wären wir sehr daran interessiert, dass sich das verbreitet, das Wissen um die Stärkung des Immunsystems mit Moxa. Wenn sich das verbreitet, dann wären wir ganz froh drüber. So, hier ist nochmal unsere Webseite vom TCM-Sozialforum, chinesische Medizin über Grenzen. Ich habe es jetzt hier in Englisch mit unseren Bankdetails, also falls jemand eine Spende machen möchte oder eben halt auch Moxa spenden möchte, dann könnt ihr das hier gerne tun. Und dann würde ich jetzt einfach sagen, falls noch Fragen sind, dadurch, dass jetzt das irgendwie mit der Präsentation da eingefroren ist und vielleicht ein bisschen irgendwas zu kurz gekommen, keine Ahnung. Aber vielleicht gibt es ja Fragen und dann würde ich jetzt das Fragenportal eröffnen. Shirley, bist du noch da oder bin ich schon wieder eingefroren?
Nein, nein, du bist noch da. Wir haben auch noch 2 Zuhörer, aber die trauen sich nicht.
Hans-Joachim und Jana. Die anderen sind jetzt schon alle weg. Wahrscheinlich war denen das zu lange, wo das Video eingefroren war. Vielleicht möchtet ihr euch irgendwie äußern. Was hat euch überhaupt hierher geführt? Und ja.
Ja, es war sehr interessant und es ist sehr interessant, aber es ist so erschöpfend dargestellt, zusammen mit der Internetseite, dass gar keine Fragen aufkommen. Dankeschön.